Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This week we're talking about if you are an agency owner, how do you train that team to become a top performing workhorse for you in your agency? If you want to know the best way to train your team, the top mistakes that new agency owners make, and the secret way agencies are training their teams to be top performers, keep on watching. That's what we're doing on the show today. All right, guys, don't forget to take a moment, like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell over on YouTube. We bring you amazing content every single week to help you with your travel businesses, and I don't want you to miss a thing. If you're new here, type a little "I'm new" in comments, and if you are new, you might not know who I am. My name is Cyndi Williams. I'm the CEO and founder of Wanderlust Campus. You can find all of our information over at travelschool.com. We bring you all of the education, the program, the tools, the resources that you need to grow your travel business, whether you are a brand new travel entrepreneur or you're an agency owner, which is what we are talking about today. Today's video is really best for you agency owners, or maybe you've been thinking about kind of starting a team and you're thinking, how the heck do I train a brand new team, especially if your background is not in education like mine is. It can be an overwhelming and feel like a daunting task, but don't worry, we're going to break it all down for you today for sure. So guys, I want to also say before we get into today's content, next week is Thanksgiving. Like, in case you need a reminder, all the things I was doing, all the decorating this past weekend. This is a Paris themed tree. I don't know if you can see the cute ornaments, and if you know, you know, but would you like to see a full house reveal on the holiday decorating? We have 5 trees in the house this year, and some of them are very specific to travel. So I don't know if you guys want to watch that on the channel. Normally we're doing educational topics, but let me know in comments if you want to see all the fun things, and maybe we'll do a video on that too. But let's get into today's training topic, which is really how do you start that process of training for your agency? So first things first, before we get into the step-by-step, some preliminary things that I need to make sure that you know before we talk about training, because as an agency owner, the number one rule to understand is if you're setting up in the most standard kind of setup process that's out there in the industry, you are probably going to be hiring independent contractors. There is an important differentiation point that you need to understand, which is you are not an employer. So technically, you cannot have a formalized learning and education program that you require your new agents to take. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, how the heck do I train my people to be expert sellers and to be top performers? Exactly. This is the conundrum that our industry deals with on a daily basis, especially if you're leveraging the most popular hiring model, which is having independent contractors. So you have to understand, though, you are not an employer. So if you're not clear on what that means, make sure you check in with your legal professional to understand what it means to hire contractors, what you can do, what you absolutely cannot do. So today we're really have a narrow view into education, but it's important that you understand that. We're going to talk about resources and how you can build a plan, because one of the things that you can do is you can make training available, but you just can't require it, and you can't standardize it, and you can't have a formal plan. So we're going to talk about how you can make some things available and what that would look like and how I would piece that together if I were restarting my travel businesses out there in today's environment. The other thing that you can think about too is it's also great, and what a lot of agencies do is they hire people that are already pre-trained. You hire someone that has a certification. They're a certified travel professional. That's a great one to look for. Another great one to look for is an associate travel professional. If you see those 2 designations on someone's title, or they come with that on their resume, you know they have been trained through Wanderlust Campus, so they've already received the best excellent training out there, and they're probably ready to go and just start producing for you. So remember, you can go about that way too in your hiring process. So that's another good trick to learn. But listen, if they're not trained though, you still have to figure out what to do. So let me talk through a couple of mistakes that I see happen with new agency owners, because I really want to make sure you guys avoid this stuff as you're getting in. So this will be our first training point on today's video. One is when you're building your first training or educational offering to make available, not required, you don't take into consideration the different types of learners. So I see this again and again. We work with travel agency entrepreneurs at all different levels. They'll come in and actually consult with us and look at their training plans and figure out where things are broken and figure out where they can kind of piece things together and what they need to fill gaps in. And the thing that I see most is they built an entire training plan to make available based on the type of learner that they are. So it's really important. I've been training travel agents since 1994. I started in the industry in 93. I worked as an agent, sold my first $1 million in my first year, and they moved me immediately into the training department, which is where I started training thousands and thousands of travel agents through my career. But I've learned so many lessons through my 3 decades of experience in the industry, and particular on the education side, right? People learn differently. So if you've never worked in education, you've never received kind of training or any type of curriculum building experience, right? You have to make sure you're reaching the auditory learners, the visual learners, and the kinesthetic learners, which learn by doing. I'm a kinesthetic learner, so I learn by putting things into practice. But you have to remember, you may be one of those types. And if you create an entire plan or entire training system around that one type, you're going to miss 2/3 of your audience. So making sure that with all of your curriculum, the things you're making available, the training, constructing your training, you have to make sure that you're considering all 3 types of learners. So that's the first one as you are embarking on this new adventure of creating and developing training for your teams. The second one is big mistake that I see is you accidentally violate contractor law. You are required to do this training. You can't require any particular training if you are hiring contractors. So again, remember, check in with those legal professionals. You want to make sure you are not operating in a gray area. This is why so many agencies work with us to be educational partners, where they're linking into our systems but not having to kind of do everything on their own. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but just remember, if you are doing it on your own, you want to just make sure that you are operating in those clear lines and that you are in compliance with all of the laws and regulations. All right, the third thing, and I see this a lot for those of you that are running your own training systems out there, you build it once and you're like, set it and forget it. This is the best training curriculum ever. I did it all based on all of the things. I put all this time and effort and energy in it. It took me 6 months to build it. And you release it out there. And within a month, it's outdated because there's been updates that happen in our industry. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have to upkeep. So you have to remember, you can't just launch a training thing and have it kind of run on its own. You have to continually be checking, are there updates? Are there things that need to be changed? And the other thing, besides regular maintenance on your training programs and training systems, is you have to consider the continuing education element, not just the initial, I'm teaching you to be kind of a travel agent on how I learned, but you also have to think about the different needs within your team. So some of them might be international agents, some might specialize in cruises, some might have really struggles with sales or service. What is that next level ongoing education that you are going to offer? And I'll tell you what, if you are really trying to attract agents who already have the base learning done and they're looking to work with an agency that has that next level training, if you just have new agent training, what do you have to offer me as an experienced agent? What are some other things I might want to building block or learn more niches? What are you doing for continuing education and ongoing? So don't forget about that performance management aspect of providing more continuing education and having those extra offerings so agents can grow with you and they don't outgrow your agency and they leave you because there's better things out there. So those are the 3 mistakes that I see. So make sure you reach all of your learners, don't violate those contractor laws, and make sure you don't forget about updating and ongoing continuing education. Now take a deep breath. I love education and I love travel, and I'm like, you're like, Cyndi, you just gave me a whole list of things to do. I get it. I'm going to break down for you right now all of the things that should be encompassed, at least in that new, if you're hiring kind of new agents and you're starting your team or scaling your team, these are the things that you want to make sure are incorporated in your training offerings that you make available, right? So number one, you want to have an orientation. How are they onboarding with your new agency? What does that onboarding process look like? This should be their first kind of training experience, and it should feel like training. It should guide them into the rest of kind of your training that is available. But the orientation should talk about your agency. It should talk about your expectations of them, what they can expect from you, any of those particular things like on here's how you access XYZ at our agency, here's where you get your logins, here's where you track your commission, all of those little kind of T's you have to cross and I's you have to dot at the beginning phase of your relationship. Package that into a nice, well done orientation so it's ready to go every time you are hiring a new staffer or a new team. Now, what's going to be in a beautifully crafted training plan for new agents? You want to make sure you cover how do they actually become a travel advisor? What is that process? What do they need to learn? How do they become a skilled at their new kind of chosen career path, right? So how to be a TA, that's one. Ethical business. This is so important. I can't tell you how many times people just don't understand how things work. They don't understand liability. They don't understand insurance. They don't understand those finer nuances, or also like even how to interact with clients when you're relaying price information and being kind of transparent if they're charging fees, making sure they're in compliance with SOT laws. So really understanding what are those ethical business standards when you are operating as a travel advisor out there in the world. You also want to have some training on sales and service and what those systems look like, especially if your agency has particular expectations on that. How to deal with client issues. You would be surprised, especially if someone doesn't have a lot of like work or life experience in other careers, how to actually get through a client resolution process. So that can be a big one that can be challenging for people, especially in today's day and age, dependent on, you know, you might have people that are my age, and we didn't, before the internet, we had to talk to people on the phone. We had to deal with face-to-face conversations. Some of our newer friends that are a little bit younger, we love you, we see you, but sometimes it's really hard for you to have a phone call and walk through something that's difficult if you haven't had those kind of opportunities to do that in other careers. So really making sure that your new agents have a skill set that they can rely on in that toolbox they can go into to handle and resolve client issues, really important. Commission tracking, how that's going to happen with your agency, and also explaining to them how commission comes in. What does that look like for our industry, so people can manage their lives if they're depending on this for their sole source of income? Understanding here's when a cruise pays commission, here's when this particular supplier you normally see their commission, because if you are paying collecting the commission check and then there's a delay, normally there is, because you have to process payroll, you have to collect the check, you have to reconcile the check as an agency. There's going to be a delay on when the client takes the trip or when the final commission comes in to when they receive it. So making sure you're talking to them about that process. You also want to train them on marketing. This is such a big one. In this contractor world that we live in, they should not be dependent on you to deliver every single lead. That's pretty uncommon, but your agency is not going to grow unless they know how to market themselves, unless they know how to do those basic marketing functions as a hosted agent. So that's really important how you're educating them on that. And then there's the niche specific training, which that's the easiest one because everyone's excited. I want to sell Disney. I want to sell cruises. I want to sell African safaris, whatever they're passionate about. Of course, they want to jump in and learn all of that stuff. That will be kind of an easy one. I'm going to actually give you a resource on how to connect to that really easily and totally free here in just a second as well, where your agency doesn't have to do all of the manpower on creating or linking that for your agency. So we'll get to that in a minute. And then last but not least, how do they book on these booking systems? Remember, depending on what they're selling, are you starting them out in one niche? Do they want to sell multiple? Depending on the complexity of the niche selection that they are starting with, they may have to learn 10 different booking systems in their first couple months, right? So understanding what resources do you have available to help them through that, because we all know we love our supplier friends. Some training is better than others, and some of it requires you to step in and kind of really walk an agent through. So if you don't want to have to stop 87 times and walk everybody through the first time they booked someone on a particular supplier, you have to think about how are you going to bridge that gap on training them those booking systems. So I know that was a lot of things to think through. This is the stuff that we live, breathe, and eat every day over at Wanderlust Campus, which will lead me to my next free resource for you as an agency owner. It is a no-brainer. If you haven't heard about Passport to Learning already, you can get a free account. All of your agents can get a free account. We do not host agents. We do not host agents. We do not hire agents. So this is a safe space where you can connect them to a lot of the free training that happens in the industry. They can get access to our global calendar. They can do a lot of that niche specific training, link it all in one place, and you don't have to find where all the things are. We run and maintain a calendar every single month that they can kind of get into really easily. And it's delivered by us, and we maintain all of that too. So one less thing for you as an agency owner to do. All right, now I promised I would tell you that secret thing that a lot of new small agencies are doing, even mid and large size agencies are doing. They are partnering with Wanderlust Campus to make the Travel Professional Training Kit Plus available to their ICs, to their teams, to their existing teams, as well as their new agents that they're hiring. What the Travel Professional Training Kit Plus kit does is it trains them on everything we just talked about. Ethical business standards, how to be a travel agent, sales and service systems, client issues, how to resolve those, commission tracking, marketing, booking systems. But there's an additional thing with Travel Professional Training Kit Plus, and they get live training from our team of instructors. Remember, all we do in the industry is education, tools, resources, all that good stuff over at campus. And it takes the burden off of you completely. So you know they're going to get a standardized type of training that is going to give them everything they need as a hosted agent. Specifically, this particular training kit, you're not going to find it on our website. This is only for our hosted partners. So we work with you. You go through a process to become a certified travel agency owner through our Wanderlust CEO program. And part of our educational partner offerings are you get to then have the opportunity to get the Travel Professional Training Kit Plus for your growing teams as well. This is like a secret little tool. And also, you guys probably came across this video because there's no other videos out there on the internet. No one is giving you any guidance, any help, any support on if you want to grow your own agency, especially if you've been thinking about this for a while, you're not sure what to do. The Wanderlust CEO and Educational Partnership Program that we have at Wanderlust Campus, we will teach you everything you need to know to set up your agency, how to prepare for those first agents, how to have training where you can just plug in Wanderlust Campus. And remember, you're not requiring it, you're making it available through Wanderlust Campus. We actually deliver the training as your third-party partner in that process. So it's a really, really easy kind of thing to set up, but a lot of people don't know about it. We don't talk about it a lot because it is an application-only program. We can only have so many in Wanderlust Campus at a time because it's a 6-month-long process to certify you and your agency, give you the training and the support that you need. But almost overnight, within 30 days for sure, you can plug in that access so your new agents, or if you have existing agents, and some of them are great at sales, some are great at service, but you have all kinds of training gaps, you immediately can plug this in and make Travel Professional Training Kit Plus available to your team. So that's the big secret kind of in the industry. If you're watching these folks out there that they worked with Wanderlust Campus, or you're seeing the badges of their certified agencies, but you're like, oh my gosh, how did they grow so fast? Like, how did they get their teams top performing? How are they getting these awards and they're getting earmarked and all this cool stuff out there? Well, the reality is we are training their agents for them, and then they're plugging in things like their orientation and things like that. So you have more of a light training load as an owner because most of the things we are doing for them to train their staff and get them into a well-oiled machine and just get their agents producing for them. So if that sounds like it's a better fit, then you can visit us at wanderlustceo.com/start and apply. In fact, I suggest you probably get those applications in this month. We're going to be reviewing those applications, and we are starting the next class in January. So if you really want to start that team in 2025, or you really want to scale it, get them into top performing kind of mode, we'll work with you to get you from salesperson into the CEO seat, and then we will help you train your team. So everything is a lot easier when you go through that process. But if you are building your own training, of course, I wish you so much love and abundance, and I hope that you took some things from this video and you have really kind of a good roadmap to get you started. But we're here for you guys for anything that you need as you continue to grow your businesses. And I want to remind everyone, don't forget to tune in next week. We are going to be releasing our Black Friday specials, and we have some really, really cool stuff coming, especially where it comes to Passport to Learning, which everybody should get their free account for this. That's like a no-brainer. I will link everything down below for you guys. Tune in next week to see those Black Friday specials, and also happy holiday season. Take care. If you like that last video, make sure you check out all the content available to you on our channel. And I invite you to follow along, travel with me around the world as I grow and scale my travel businesses. You're gonna pick up some great tips, some great tricks on how you can grow your own travel brand too. I'm gonna drop some links down below, and also check out these videos I handpicked just for you.